Okay, let's dive into today's sources. Pulled from the news aggregated by consumers.nav for May 30th, 2025. Have you ever wondered how you stack up against the average? And maybe whether average even matters when it comes to health?
That's a great question.
We're unpacking a stacks of information here related to health, weight, diet, food choices. Basically looking for those key insights consumers.app is highlighted from the latest news and research.
Exactly. Think of this as a snapshot, It shows what's being talked about, what's being studied right now. And some of these sources, they offer surprising facts, practical tips,
Right?
and really a chance to see how different bits of health info connect. It's kind of fascinating how complex it all is when you pull back the curtain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our mission today is really to guide you through this, pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, and make sure you leave feeling informed, but hopefully not overwhelmed.
Sound good.
Sounds great. Okay, let's jump in. First up, a headline from AOL that really grabbed our attention. The average American woman weighs this much. Just hits you with a specific number.
Yeah, it does. And diving into the data consumers.app aggregated from that source, well, it states the average weight for American women is around 170.8 pounds.
Okay.
And the average height is about 5'3". Now, when you look globally, that's quite different. It suggests, pretty significant regional differences, likely tied to things like diet and lifestyle.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, at least for me. Consumers.app also pulled out some related behaviors, specifically looking at adolescent girls trying to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And the research highlighted shows some, frankly, concerning correlations. Eating breakfast less often, getting less sleep, more screen time. Increased efforts on muscle toning, but also, maybe surprisingly, higher rates of vaping and alcohol use. It kind of makes you wonder, are we focusing on the right things for interventions?
That's a critical point. And exercise, of course, is a huge piece of the puzzle, especially for managing things like metabolic syndrome. The analysis points out that exercise improves various health markers, helps reduce oxidative stress.
Which is linked to inflammation, right?
Exactly. And the recommended safe exercises highlighted usually involve a mix, some cardio, some strength training. That combination seems key for burning calories and boosting metabolism.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Well, body weight isn't just a number. It's highlighted here as a vital health indicator. Monitoring it matters because weight outside healthy ranges can signal risks.
Right.
And diet, well, that's fundamental, directly influences energy balance. A balanced approach is seen as essential, not just for weight, but overall health.
And it's worth remembering those societal influences the sources mention. Media, cultural norms, they heavily impact body image, especially for women, and can sometimes lead to unhealthy pressures and practices.
So why should you care about all this? Understanding that average number is just the start. Looking at the behaviors underneath, the role of exercise and diet, those outside pressures, it gives you a much clearer picture of the complex landscape around weight and health. It's definitely more than just one number.
Well said.
Moving on, this next headline from the Orange County Register suggests kind of a different mindset. Consider a less restrictive approach to maintaining a healthy weight. That sounds liberating.
It does, yeah. Consumers.app highlighted analysis looking at the benefits of a more flexible, mindful approach.
Okay.
This means making sustainable changes you can actually stick with, learning to understand cravings without feeling guilty, and building a healthier relationship with food by really tuning into your body's hunger cues and emotional triggers. Some studies reference suggest this mindful eating can actually be more effective long-term than strict dieting.
That raises an important point, and it brings up something fascinating they mentioned, the exercise paradox.
Yes.
The analysis points out this idea that more exercise doesn't always directly equal significant weight loss. It sort of challenges that simple calories in, calories out idea.
Right. It suggests that while exercise is vital for health, other factors like your diet, your metabolism, they play huge roles. And the body can compensate in weird ways, like maybe increasing your appetite, or you just move less unconsciously the rest of the day.
Interesting.
And speaking of influences, what's fascinating here is how social media, like Twitter, seems to shape public opinion on exercise and obesity. Analysis of millions of tweets showed these conversations often linked exercise and diet together, illustrating how these online platforms influence how people think and maybe behave.
Consumers.app also highlighted some specific practices under this less restrictive umbrella. Take yoga. It has ancient roots, obviously, but it's evolved, especially in the West. Now, it's often focused heavily on physical fitness, stress relief, mental well-being, through postures, meditations, sometimes a bit different from its traditional spiritual goals.
Sure. And then there's Pilates. Research shows it can significantly benefit women with hypertension, actually improving lung function and blood pressure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cited as an effective intervention. It just shows how specific exercises offer diverse benefits beyond just weight. Even something like repeated downhill walking shows the body adapts, you get more efficient, it feels easier, uses less energy over time.
So why should you care about this section? It really encourages you to think beyond just rules and calorie counting.
Right.
It brings in the mental side, shows the power of media influences, and highlights specific practices like yoga and Pilates that offer broader health and well-being benefits, not just weight loss.
Exactly. It's a more holistic view.
Okay, this next headline from Insider, found on MSN.com, brings us back to a really practical, personal goal lots of us have. I want to lose weight and build strength. A dietitian said to lift weights and make simple food swaps. Feels very actionable.
Absolutely. And Consumers.act's analysis of this source touches again on that exercise paradox, explaining that, yes, physical activity is vital, but the scale might not move as much as you'd expect because of those potential compensations we talked about. Maybe you get hungrier, maybe you fidget less without realizing it.
But here's where it gets really interesting with the practical advice they highlighted. Understanding portion sizes. It's crucial.
So important.
Dietitians, cited here, really emphasize that controlling how much you eat helps create that calorie deficit you need for weight loss. Sounds simple, but it's so easy to overestimate.
Oh, definitely. And simple food swaps are highlighted as key tools, too. This isn't about drastic deprivation, but smart choices.
Like what?
Well, swapping light rice for cauliflower rice, maybe pasta for zucchini noodles, choosing lean proteins, drinking water instead of sugary drinks. These small changes can significantly cut calories while keeping you feeling nourished.
Okay, that makes sense. And for building strength while losing weight, strength training is confirmed as essential. Consumers.app points out it actually boosts your metabolism.
Because muscle tissue burns more energy than fat tissue, even when you're just sitting around.
Right. So building muscle improves your body composition, that muscle-to-fat ratio, which is really important for long-term health.
And portion control, just to reiterate from the analysis, is really fundamental. It's a critical tool for managing calorie intake consistently and preventing overeating. It's foundational.
Why should you care about this part? It gives you concrete, actionable steps straight from the sources, understand your portions, make those simple swaps, lift some weights. Plus, it gives you a deeper understanding of why these things work, making them feel less like rules and more like effective strategies.
Exactly. Empowering, really.
All right, let's switch gears completely. Let's talk food trends, specifically veggie burgers. This headline's from Go Dairy Free. Dairy-free veggie burgers, 20 tasty brands and top picks. This category has just exploded, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Consumers.app's breakdown shows these burgers typically use ingredients like beans, grains, nuts, seeds, vegetables, so potentially pretty healthy stuff. Yeah. They can be excellent sources of protein, fiber, healthy fats, various nutrients. They can definitely be part of a balanced meal.
What's fascinating here, though, is how our perceptions of veganism influence whether people even try these things. The analysis found non-vegans sometimes see plant-based diets as, well, less healthy.
Which can be a barrier.
Exactly. But social media seems to be shifting that narrative, showcasing appealing vegan lifestyles, potentially boosting interest in options like these burgers.
And narratives themselves are powerful drivers, promoting plant-based diets as, say, environmental action, framing food choices as contributing to sustainability or social justice that really resonates with people. Consumers.app pointed to examples like Veganuary campaigns using these stories. And the technology is getting better, too. Things like scaffolding are being developed to make plant-based meats mimic traditional meat texture more closely.
This does raise an important question, though, about the broader food landscape. Consumers.app notes ultra-processed foods are just everywhere.
They really are. Over half the food supply in some places.
And the concern. They're often nutritionally poor, high in sugar, salt, unhealthy fats, or in protein. They contribute to dietary imbalances.
Definitely something to be aware of. In terms of specific recommendations from the source, Consumers.app did highlight top brands in the dairy-free veggie burger space. Names like Garden Burger, Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods come up.
People seem to like those.
Yeah, they noted they're often rated highly by consumers for taste and texture, succeeding, to some extent, in replicating that meat experience.
So what does all this boil down to? Vegan diets are linked to health benefits, like lower risks of heart disease. That plus the growing interest in sustainability and these new food techs, it's fueling the popularity of veggie burgers and other plant-based options. People are looking for choices that align with various concerns: health, environment, ethics.
It's a convergence of factors.
Why should you care? Well, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or just curious, understanding what's in these foods, the trends driving them, and the bigger picture of our food system connects to huge conversations about diet, health, the planet, and what we choose to put on our plates.
Well put.
Okay, our final headline. This one's from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and it looks at specific benefits of plant-based eating for a particular group. Opting for plant-based foods instead of animal products leads to weight loss, reduction in hot flashes in postmenopausal women, finds new study.
Right. Consumers.app detailed the findings from the specific study, and it showed significant benefits for postmenopausal women who made this dietary shift. They saw noticeable weight loss and, interestingly, a reduction in severe hot flashes.
And that was linked to specific foods.
It was strongly linked to including soybeans in their diet and minimizing animal products overall.
Now, what's fascinating here, according to the analysis, is that the categorization of plant foods, whether they were deemed healthful or unhealthful, seemed less important than the overall act of just eating more plants and fewer animal products and less oil.
Interesting nuance.
Yeah, both types of plant foods within that framework seem to contribute to the improvements in hot flashes and weight loss.
And recent clinical trials focusing specifically on a low-fat vegan diet with soybeans showed a clear correlation. Improved dietary quality scores were linked negatively with body weight and how severe the hot flashes were. It highlights the impact of that specific pattern.
So what does this mean for this group? Soybeans seem pretty crucial here. They significantly boosted with a study called the Healthful Plant-Based Diet Index. And that index correlated directly with better management of common menopausal symptoms, like hot flashes and night sweats, plus the weight benefits. So this specific diet showed real, tangible health improvements.
Yeah, quite compelling results for that population.
So why should you care about this specific study? Well, even though it focuses on one group, it's a powerful example. It really illustrates how dietary choices, especially shifting toward plant-based options and including nutrient-dense foods like soy, can have significant measurable impacts on specific health conditions and overall well-being. It just shows the potential for diet as a really powerful tool.
Definitely food for thought.
Phew. Okay, that was quite a deep dive into a lot of fascinating insights today, all pulled from the news, aggregated by consumers.app for May 30th, 2025. We covered average weights, adolescent health, mindful eating, that exercise paradox.
Right. Practical food swaps, the whole world of veggie burgers.
And those specific benefits of plant-based diets for postmenopausal women. Quite a range.
It really is a great reminder of how interconnected everything is: health, diet, lifestyle trends, and how aggregating information like this can shed light on both those broad population patterns and specific health outcomes linked to our choices.
We really hope exploring these sources with us has given you some valuable nuggets of knowledge, maybe sparked some new thoughts about your own health journey.
Hope so.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Thank you.
Please do like and subscribe Consumers 360 to catch future deep dives into what's happening across the consumer landscape.
Really do.
And if you be my today, maybe consider this. In a world that's constantly throwing data points at us about health trends, diet fads, ideal weights, how do you sift through all that at once? How do you decide what information was truly valuable and how to apply it to your own unique path towards well-being?